morning, everybody. Today is December 23rd. We are currently en route to the winery. We got a whole crew today. We got my buddy Jim, another buddy Jay that's supposed to be there at some point today, depending on snow. Buddy Kevin's going to come down and help for a little while, I think. We got Justin, my son Justin, friend Briar, Megan, and we got Jerry, her friend Jerry from up in Vermont. He's home for the holidays and graciously offered to spend one of his days here helping us get our at least get our main lines up. So I'm not sure how much video we'll get today, because my concentration is going to be strictly on getting the work done while I got the help here. See if Megan can get some footage for us. So the plan today is the tank's there, the releaser's there. We got everything laid out grade wise, I'm pretty sure. That was a bit of a fiasco yesterday. So the plan is to get the main line run up and stretch tight, and then if we got enough time, we might start on some lateral lines. So Megan and I and Jim got all the old lines down yesterday, at least laying on the ground. Of course, they're covered with snow now, so that'll make things fun. But yeah, it is what it is, and probably by the time this video comes out, Christmas will be over. So hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and we'll have a Happy New Year, and enjoy. Well, good morning, everybody. It is the day after Christmas, December 26th. I'm back at the woods today, or not the woods, the winery today. Doing some stuff, some cleanup stuff. Things were going pretty hot and heavy the other day. We were trying to get a lot done, as much as we could get done in the time that we had. I had I think five or six people here. Jimbo was here, buddy Kevin, buddy Jay, Jerry, friend of ours from up in Vermont, and I had Justin and Megan and a friend of theirs, Briar. Anyway, and myself. I don't like to stop and try to get video where when other people are working and I'm just standing there around pointing the camera talking. So there was a lot of work trying to be done and not a lot of video being taken. So I apologize for that. I guess I'm not a very good YouTuber, but don't claim to be. Just, somebody documenting what we're doing here. Anyway, we got quite a bit done. I'm gonna stop here and turn the camera around. So what we got done is this is the second sub-main, I guess you could call it. Starts down there, runs down the creek, you can see, all the way down, crosses the creek over there, and then continues down kind of through the brush, and I'll take you down to the other end and show you. You can kind of see where it makes a bend there, and then heads over to where the two meet on the where they split. And then if you look on the other side of there's a little swamp down in here. You can see the other main line coming up. Focus on that instead of my finger. On the other side of those trees, and then you can see it on the far side of the creek here. Kind of running up the hill at a bit of an angle, and that one terminates right over there. So anyway, so we got that up, we got the wet dry up. I'll show you that in a minute. And got that far line over there tensioned and mostly secured. This near one, we ran out of daylight. We did get it up. We got the wet dries up first. take a walk down there and look at those. Okay, we're over here to the other main line, sub main, I guess you could call it. And I don't know if you can tell on the video, but we're pretty low. It's about a foot off the ground. We do have to tighten up the wire a little bit and the tubing, but fortunately we don't get a lot of snow around here. I think we'll be all right. We just needed the main line to be low here to be able to keep our elevation on the other side. When I get down here to the bottom, I'll turn around and show you what our problem is. You can tell I'm walking downhill here. Right up ahead of us is where everything comes together. But now the main line is not quite my shoulder. So if you look behind me, there's right there is where the main line is only about a foot off the ground. There's a knob right here that we ran across, and to be able to keep the elevation on the far side where it goes through the ditch before it turns and goes up the ridge there, or creek rather, we needed to keep it that low. So there wasn't much we could do. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that we don't have feet and feet of snow here like they do in other places. If we do, there's probably only 20 or 30 feet of main line that would have to be dug out. So not the end of the world, not ideal, but you kind of got to do what you got to do. I guess our other option would have been a sap ladder, but considering the fact that we really don't get that much snow here, I think we'll be all right. Anyway, you can see this is where everything comes together. So this one here is the one that ran on the near side of the creek. You can see it running up through the woods there. And then this one is the one that ran on the far side of the creek. And then if we turn around here, we have our wet line or sap line on the bottom, and our dry line or vacuum line on the top. So what'll happen, and we'll be able to show you this, but this bottom line here will tie into that sub main and that sub main. And then what we'll do is we'll put another Y on here, and there'll be a loop that runs over of pipe that runs over and ties in somewhere up in here, and the same up over into there, and that will allow us to transfer our vacuum. Just getting some stuff cleaned up, picking up some stuff, getting it out of the way, getting some lines up off the ground so we can see where to tie them in. We're supposed to get about 6 inches of snow later today, and then who knows what. It's supposed to rain and freeze and just kind of be nasty. So just trying to get stuff up off the ground so we can see it if we can get a chance to get back in here in the next few days. So that'll be it for now. Okay, so what we got going, we got our dry line, our wet line tension. We already got this sub main tension. Now we're working on the last one. Justin's up the other end. So what we do is we put this webbing around the line, and then I come along to a tree behind it, and then we tension it up, and as you can see up through the woods there, it's starting to come tight. I gotta go take those clamps off up the other end. Right? We got the clamps at the other end. Okay, we're gonna go up here and we'll take a quick walk and you can see what's going on. So what we had up here was when we ran our high tensile wire, we went out the back side of this maple tree, and when the tubing, you can see the tree's leaning, so the tubing kept wanting to run up the tree. So what we did was we clamped it off back there, secured what was already up, so it's still pretty snug, and then rolled the tubing up back to this tree. It's about, I don't know, 60, 70, probably 60 yards. Rolled the tubing up, came around this side of the tree, careful not to kink it, and then unrolled it. And then what we can do is just push it into the high tensile wire. and we'll make a nice sweeping bend here. So we got to go up and take these clamps off, then we're going to go up and work the tubing down. Hello everybody, Happy New Year. We're back at the winery today finishing some stuff up. So we've been plugging away at this since we started right before Christmas. Today's January 5th, I believe. What we did, let me turn this around here. So we got all the lines up, the main lines and the sub mains. This one here runs on the downhill side of the creek that runs along the edge of the escarpment over there. This one is the same path that the old main line had, except it goes on the other side of the creek and kind of up on an angle across the escarpment a little bit. So we have a total of about I think it's about 1,900 feet of line here. So anyway, these two submains, we're running a little bit different system. This is a more, I guess you could say, professional system, in that we now have a wet line and a dry line. So these two lines go down the hill to the tank, which is right down there. I don't know if you can see it through the trees, and that's where the vacuum pump and the releaser will be. So what the idea is as these get, a couple things. So as these get further out in the woods, or actually closer this way, these lines, that submain and this submain, will fill up with sap ideally, and there won't be as much room in the line. You want your lines about half full, so you have room for the vacuum to travel this way and the sap to travel that way. So what we do is we bring a dedicated line, this top one for vacuum, for air, which hence the name dry line, up, and when we tie in, instead of just splitting one line like we used to have and running two lines up into the woods and using that empty space in the top of the line for the vacuum, we have this dedicated vacuum line that comes up to here, and you can see on the bottom there's a Y that goes into each of the submains, and then on the top a loop that takes the vacuum to each of those submains. So what that does, it gives us better vacuum. So we still have to install a valve here and one over here, so we can isolate each of these lines. There'll be a vacuum gauge on them. That'll help us find leaks. So today is Monday. I think we're both tied up for the next couple days, but I think Thursday Jim and I are going to come back and start running some of these laterals and get this show on the road. This week we could actually be tapped, and it sounds like the sap's going to be running a little bit, but we're still pretty early for us here. We're going to get these lines up. We got some cleanup to do over at the woods in Pekin. We were just up there the other day and talked to the neighbor, and he is going to let us run an electric line from the house next door over to the woods to run the vacuum pumps. So we did have a guzzler here and a guzzler up there, and the plan for this year is we've bought a vacuum pump, a gas-powered vacuum pump that's going to sit down here by the tank, and a releaser and all of that, and we are going to be running this whole system with that. We're going to modify it so that it's got a 10-gallon tank for the vacuum pump. So it should be able to run for 24 to 30 hours or so. And the other one, we're going to put both guzzlers there. If you remember, there's two main lines there. And we're going to put one of the guzzlers on each main line, so that should help increase vacuum over there and ideally help production over there. So we are about, I would say, about halfway done here. We still got to get the vacuum or the lateral lines up. We are going to also run, turn around here. So there's some trees up here on top of the hill that we don't want to tie lateral line into our wet line here. So what we're going to do is we have a little bit of tubing left over on, you can see it behind me over here. There's the coils up right there. So we got a little bit left. So we're going to take some of the high tensile wire that was left from the system that was in here. We're going to run it up the hill that way and run as far as we can with the 1-inch main line we got left, and run another sub main up there, and that'll tie in just like up at the end here. It'll be a Y here, and a loop, and then the sub main will come in here. Anyway, so we still got to do that. We got to run all the lateral lines and get the vacuum pump down here and get that set up with the gas tank, and that should be pretty much it. And then we'll be ready to tap some trees. Try not to kill myself here. So we also got a nice little bridge across the creek here. Thanks, Jimbo. That's a lot nicer than having to wade through the creek every time we're here. So anyway, that'll be it for this video. If you can, please share this with folks you know. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100. We're almost there. I think we got 71. So we'll get to 100 and go from there. So have a good one, everybody. We're going to Cobleskill this weekend for a maple conference. We'll see if we can get some footage there. All right, take care.